Well, thank you for joining us today. We have a great episode coming up today, and we thank you for joining us on today's Ask the Mayor program. Well, welcome to today's Ask the Mayor program. We are on location for this program. We are in the downtown conference center. We have a little quaint studio that we've set up here today for filming, and I would like to welcome you to our Valentine's Day. This is going to be our Valentine's Day program, and I have invited two couples to join me today to talk about their marriage and their life and those things that are important to all of us. First of all, I would like to introduce to you Joe and Barbara Kruger. They are with us today to talk about their life, and Joe has some unique things we're going to talk about. Thank y'all very much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure being here to talk with you today. And I understand your relationship with each other spans many, many years. Could you tell our audience a little bit about how you met and how you started your life together?
Well, we started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I met Joe when I was a junior in high school. He sat across from me, and he's actually been my first date, my first boyfriend, and we took it from there. Got married right out of high school. And been married 55 years.
She's my second date.
Your second date?
Mm-hmm. I had one other date.
Okay. Should I ask about the first date?
Well, I was only 14.
Okay. Now, based on your accent, I assume you're not originally from the South. Could you tell us a little bit about where you're from?
I was born in Wisconsin, 200 miles north of Milwaukee, in a small town called, I say Antigo, but it was a little area called Polar, and there was about 145 people living in that little town. And I lived there. Well, when we went to Chicago, we came back, but I lived there for until I was about 16. And then I moved, my dad moved and Mom moved to Milwaukee with my brothers, and I wound up with her.
Well, your last journey together obviously spans many, many years. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the different places that you have lived before you...
Well, Joe's job took him, he was a plant manager, and he got transferred quite often. We lived, in the 70s, we lived in Beaufort, Georgia. We also lived in Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Illinois. We left Wisconsin in 1966 and haven't lived there since. But all of our family is up there. Joe and I have 4 boys. And yeah, as we got through life, wherever we moved, we always left the son behind. When we lived in Georgia, we left 2 boys behind. So when we went on and it was just him and I, we came back to Georgia to retire, to be close to family. And we settled on Douglasville because our son lived in Douglasville and actually lives 2 blocks away. And it was always nice to be close to family.
And the other reason was one of them lived in Okinawa, Japan. He retired out of the Marines after 30 years, and he wasn't coming home. So we figured we better off if we kind of stayed local. And we left one in Wisconsin, and we didn't want to go back.
Well,
But we have 2 of them here.
Okay.
we have 2 sons here in Georgia.
Joe, did you transfer with the same company each time, or
No, I
was it-
transferred twice with the same company, and then after that I left, and for some reason, I don't know what I left for. I just wanted a different part of the country or something, and then we'd leave and we'd move and kept moving. I started off as a machinist, and I worked as a plant manager, and we've just been going ever since. And there'd be a job opening down south, I'd take it down south. And then got tired of being down south, and I said, oh, there's one up in Illinois, so we went up to Illinois. So I moved around a little bit. It was very educational. You'd be surprised how educational it is from one part of the country to another. Religion-wise and community-wise, and what people do and how they think. It just, a lot of the thinking is alike, but the way they live is a lot different.
Sure.
But we enjoyed it.
It's a slower pace.
We liked it here.
And the weather has got a lot for it.
Yes, it
Except the last
has.
couple of days.
Yeah.
And I understand that your location or relocation here was by choice.
By
Could
choice.
you tell us a little bit about that?
When we lived in Georgia the first time, we lived in Beaufort, and we liked it. I used to go fishing at Lake Lanier a lot, and I was offered to be a bass masters or join the bass clubs and stuff, and they wanted me to turn pro, and I decided against it. And anyhow, we lived there for a while, and we moved into Austell, Georgia. We lived there for a few years. I think it was 13 years we lived here the first time. And we lived here, and the longer we lived here, the more we kind of liked it. And I had a job. What did I leave here for? I don't remember.
Well, when we first moved to Georgia, we had 3 sons. Our oldest son was already in the Marines. He spent a career in the Marines. He was 30 years in the Marines. So when we came to Georgia the first time, we had 3 sons. When we left, they were all gone. They were in the service or got married, so we were on our own.
Okay.
So we just came back to be with family.
Well, good. Well, do you still travel now?
Oh, yeah, we like to travel.
We go out west.
We like to take car trips. We went out to Las Vegas, and on the way out to Las Vegas, we stopped in different parks, and we went to the Oklahoma where they had the bombing, which was just a fantastic sight. If anybody gets a chance to go out there to Oklahoma City and see that memorial, it is great. And we went to the Black Hills and Grand Canyons and
Petrified
Forest, and we spent some time in Vegas, and we've seen some sights around there, and a Boulder Dam, and this one park we were out there. We seen it on television. I don't remember the name of the park. But we've been a lot of places.
Red Rock Canyon, I
Yeah.
think we've seen you.
Then we went there and we drove back. We came back a little different way, and then we went out there again. We went to the north side of the states. Went out to see her friend of hers from high school. They lived in Idaho. And we drove over to Reno, and we spent a couple days there, and we came back and did some more sightseeing. We just like to see sights. And we've traveled on the East Coast, and we've traveled. There's only a few states we haven't been in. One of them is California. The other one's Washington, state of Washington. We haven't been in Maine. We haven't been in. Were we in New York? We weren't.
You
in New
were,
York.
I wasn't.
Oh, that's why one of us was, and I was with my job. But we traveled just about all the states except for Alaska. We were in Hawaii. We visited my son when he was in the Marines out there. It was just, I don't know. We like to be together.
Well, and that's great. It sounds like you've truly had a great life together, and you're traveling together now, even in your retirement.
And she's quite a comedian. She keeps me laughing.
Well, Joe, I know one of the things that, and now that you told me what you did as a machinist, I can appreciate how you're doing some of the woodworking that you've done. I know that you truly enjoy this, and it's your hobby now. Could you tell us a little bit about it and how you got started?
I've always played with wood. She'd want something made, I'd make it, but it was never, the only thing I ever had was a skill saw or a hand saw, and I did all my stuff by hand, and I thought, I always liked doing it. And when I was a machinist, I worked on the first moonwalk. I worked on the first vehicle for the moon. We did the gyros for it, and that was all fine work. And I don't like making furniture, but I love to make this stuff. It's with my hands. And you have to have a kind of a steady hand. And this little piece here that I got in front of me with the deer on the inside is a Christmas ornament. I've made, I don't know, 5 or 6 of those. But I keep every time somebody sees one, they like them and they want one. And then I made this little bird that you got in your hand.
Well, now, this is something that Joe was showing me this before we went on camera. And this is truly amazing. I don't know if you can see this, but this is out of one piece of wood, and inside it has a thing that moves. But that was cut out of the same piece of wood. And I know we don't have enough time for you to tell us how we made that, but I got to tell you, that is truly amazing craftsmanship.
Thank you. But like I said, I enjoy it. It was made similar to what this is made. It's got the same principle. It's got, it got the little flame on the inside. And the painting, they don't paint when I see the pictures in the book what I make it from. So I paint them up to what I like it to do. And this one here I've gotten about 5 different colors. And this year is my wife's favorite. I made 3 of these one year. It takes I made 3 sets, and it took me 3 months. And one wouldn't take me so long, but I dropped the one. And but it's all individual pieces. Each leaf is individual, and it's kind of unique, and she likes it. That's all that counts.
That is truly amazing.
And this one I like.
All this is made out of wood.
Yep. And I like this one. None of it showed it like it being wood. I just go out and buy glasses, and I put it in wood so people can't break it, or I can't break it. But it's a farmer and his wife and a little chick.
He's got a pitchfork.
And a pitchfork, yeah.
Were each one of these out of a separate piece of wood?
Well, yeah. They were the same piece of wood, but I just, it was longer, and then I just cut it up and used that.
It's beautiful. How long does it take to make something like that?
This year, with the painting and everything, I probably, I'd say about 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
He's got about, in our basement, he's got about 7 saws. They're just lined up. Each saw has its own purpose. And he's got a table that's got sanders on them. He's got about 5 sanders.
7.
And that's the sanding station. He has a drill press. And what else? 2 shop vacs.
Well, I got to vacuum up you attach it to the router table, and you suck it up and scroll saws.
He's got counters where he sets it all up. It's like a real assembly line. That whole basement is his. He's got wood stacked all over, and everybody gets a piece of wood. They give it to him, and a couple of weeks ago, somebody gave him a piece of redwood that came from Korea. And it was real hard wood. It's like almost a solid block. It's like stone. And it's red. It doesn't smell like cedar or anything, but
looks like red oak.
It does. And he made a little cat on a stand. But to make this cat, that wood is so sturdy, it's so soft. He broke 3 saw blades before.
No, I just wore them out. I wore 3 saw blades just trying to saw this out.
Like sawing concrete.
Yeah, when I put it through and I used a carbide blade, I only cut a piece that was 1 3/4 inches long because I cut it off. But when I cut it to square it up, it was smoking. I thought my smoke alarm was going to go off. But after I got it cut and I put it on there, I mean, the wood when I was done with it, like this, everything else you got here, I have to sand and polish, work with. This, when I got done, I just wiped it all off and it was done. I just sprayed it with varnish.
We don't know what kind of wood it was, but we do know it came from Korea.
It was good wood. I got another piece. And somebody just gave me a bunch of cherry. They call me, where my son works, they like my work down there too. And I get stuff that I don't like and I give it to them.
They call him Mr. Termite.
They call me the termite.
Well, it has truly been a pleasure.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk to us and be on the Ask the Mayor program, our Valentine's Day special. Let me ask one final question. I know you've been married for many, many years. I wonder if you could share with our audience what your secret is.
Keep laughing.
Always keep laughing. Find humor in everything. Don't get stupid things he says, and I get it. He has this. It's kind of funny to us. I don't know if anybody else will. He's got this pill that he takes every night before supper, and about 30 minutes before, he says, geez, I forgot to take my stupid pill. And I said, well, is that to ease it up or to speed it up? And we've been laughing ever since.
She's very forgiving, thank goodness.
I don't think in the well, actually we've been together about 58 years. I don't think we've had any we've had our disagreements. But when our children were small, he never said, no, you can't do it. He'd say, let me talk it over with your mother. Mm-hmm. And I would be the same thing. And the boy said, can I go out? I said, let me see, we'll talk to Dad. But it was always a dual decision. It was never one over the other. We always talked it over and still do. But I kind of think I have the upper hand sometimes.
Well, I know that's the way it is at my house.
Yes, dear.
That's right.
Mama's not happy. You heard it. Nobody's happy.
And that'll last for 55 years at
Yeah.
least. Well, thank you again.
Well, thank
it's been
you.
my pleasure
we really
talking
enjoyed
with
it.
you today.
It was
Thank
so
you.
nice to meet you.
Yes.
And your wife.
Well, thank you very
she's a
much.
nice
I'm
lady.
very proud of her also. Absolutely. We'll be right back after this message. Well, welcome back to today's Ask the Mayor program. Of course, we just finished an interview with Mr. and Ms. Kruger, who had been married for an awful long time. With me are two very special people, and we thank you for being here. Ben and Shana Brown have only been married for a few months. So in today's program, we hope to be able to get a different perspective from longevity and those kind of things, but I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to be here today. And I wonder if we could start off with maybe telling our audience a little bit about how long you've been married and how you met and those kind of things.
Absolutely, Shane. I'll let you start with it.
Well, I am originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I came down to UGA to do my undergrad. And my sophomore year, I decided to do rush the business fraternity there, which Ben was actually a president of at the time. And I walked in and talked to Ben and walked out 5 minutes later, and I called my mom and I said, Mom, I found the man I'm going to marry. She started laughing at me, and after, a year, then we started dating. We started dating shortly after that, and so a year later she said, well, maybe you were right.
Absolutely, and so we met at UGA and started our courtship there, and then dated for about 5 years or so, and were recently married late last year. So.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I can tell you, if you called your mom or dad and told them you just met the guy that you plan to spend the rest of your life with, I've got a little story about that. My daughter, we sent her away to University of Alabama, and a couple of years after that, she called me up and said just exactly what you're saying. I've met the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with. So I started asking questions, how did you meet him? Where did you meet him? She says, well, I went to this party, and he's playing in the band, and he's just a great and wonderful guy. Of course, I'm thinking of guys with rings in their ears, rings in their tongue, and those kind of things. So I thought, this is probably not the guy I want my daughter to spend the rest of her life with. But as it turned out, he didn't have any of those things. He was a great guy. They've been married now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years and have 2 wonderful grandchildren. So it does works out great. Ben, I know you're originally from Douglasville. Your family's from Douglasville, and I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your family and a little bit about yourself living here in Douglasville. I understand you graduated. Well, I know you graduated from Douglas County High School.
Well, yeah, we lifelong resident of Douglasville and Douglas County with a couple of side trips in between. But the family is from here, from Douglasville, and started with my grandfather was a builder here, and I think most of his family's was in the building and construction industry here as well. So yeah, once I graduated and went to school, college that is, and decided to look for a job and find a place to settle down. I kind of wanted to be back home, if it will, back home with the family, mm-hmm. and back home here in Douglasville. So I convinced Shana to come out here with me, and she has, yeah, she's fell in love, and she's gotten involved, and she's done a lot of things with the downtown, and met a lot of the local business people, and she shops at all the boutiques, the little local boutiques and stuff. So it's been real neat being back here, and we've enjoyed the proximity to Atlanta, being able to go in when we want to, but not have to go in when we don't want to. So that's been a nice convenient factor as well.
Well, we appreciate you selecting Douglasville as a place where you're going to work and spend your money and seek entertainment, all those kind of things. But what process did you go through to select Douglasville as your new home? Was it predominantly because you are from here, or what did you think about that, Jane?
Well, that was definitely a factor. When he called me up and said, hey, let's move to Douglasville, I was like, oh, okay. Because I was used to being in the city, and I think the big thing for Ben was we were both raised on farms, and living in the city for a while, the traffic definitely got to us. And he was in his condo the one day, and he said he just woke up and it was traffic all over the place. Then he came out here to Douglasville and he saw the house, and it was so quiet. So I think that was the big factor for you. But we've just fallen in love with it. I love the whole West Georgia area. It's gorgeous.
Well, I know that Ben, you're in business here in town. You're a businessman, and Shana, you're finishing up law school, I understand. Where are you in school? And
I'm at John Marshall Law School in Atlanta, and this is my last semester.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So have you kind of picked a preference of what section of the law you're going to go into?
Well, I'm really passionate about property. I love property law, but unfortunately it's not the best area to get into right now. So I'm starting to look into the bankruptcy area, and really anything that I can do at this point.
When do you expect to graduate?
In May 16th.
Okay, well that's just around the corner.
Yes, it is.
So anyone that's out there now that's looking for a great attorney, May is the date,
I can
right?
attest. She can argue well. She will not let you down.
Well, Ben, I know that you serve on some of our committees and boards here in the city of Douglasville. I wonder if you could share with our audience some of the things you've been doing and how you got involved in the community.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. One of the main boards I serve on is one of the Downtown Development Authority, the Organizational Committee Board, which is chaired by Pat Smith. And we're in charge of working with a lot of the events downtown, doing a lot of the booths and staffing and things like that. We've also developed a downtown Friends of Main Street downtown program where people can donate and then get exclusive benefits and access to things downtown as a way to provide facade grants and things like that to our downtown businesses to improve the look of downtown. So it's a great committee. All the committees are wonderful. Lots of great people on them, and it's been truly a pleasure to serve. And I've really gotten a lot out of the experience as well. And Shane and I were talking the other day about her looking into some committees as well to see if there's something that might interest her. So it's such a neat idea and way for me to be able to participate and to give back and to actually make a difference and help out. So,
well, and we appreciate that because it really takes the entire community to be involved, and it takes a commitment from folks like yourself that are willing to donate time, because most of the projects that we work on take an awful long time, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that happens, and we appreciate the commitment that you have to making Douglasville a better place to live, work, and play.
Oh, thank you. Well, we enjoy every minute of it.
Well, our other guests, as I said earlier in the program, had been married for an awful long time, and they gave us their secrets and they shared with us their wisdom on what they think it took to make a long-lasting relationship. So here on close to Valentine's Day, I was wondering if you could share with our audience what you think it's going to take to have a long-lasting, healthy marriage. Boy, that's a big question, isn't it? And if we could can this and sell it.
Well, we did get a lot of advice during our engagement period. As soon as anyone found out we were engaged, they said, well, let me tell you.
Very eager to
Here's the 2 secrets you got to do.
Right.
So everybody has theirs. We're looking forward to creating ours. But
communication, definitely communication. And compromise. We've done a lot of compromise.
Communication and compromise.
And count. Some people do the count to 10 thing when they get mad. I do the count to 25 and leave the room, and then come back.
Whatever the number is. So, and just learning that you are now living with another person, and you are sharing a house with another person, and there's two people involved,
Consideration.
and consideration. There you go. She can do this all day.
Now, Ben, here's my definition of compromise after being married for over 30 years. Yes, honey, that's right.
Yeah.
We'll do it that way. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm learning.
That's not the way it works at all.
No, it's been wonderful. We're just so happy and so blessed and so excited. I mean, we have had just a wonderful time. So
Yeah.
we're really looking forward to the future. So.
Well, thank y'all for joining me today. It's truly been my pleasure to meet and talk with you this morning. And please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bean, Conference Center Manager for the Downtown Douglasville Conference Center. The city wanted to let you know of this venue available if you are planning any event for the near future. The facility is equipped with audiovisual equipment and also a large pre-function area for your event. The Conference Center can host 10 to 15 people for smaller meetings and up to 250 guests for a larger event. The center is designed with smaller breakout rooms, and the large ballroom can be divided into smaller rooms to accommodate any event size needed. Just recently, the Conference Center experienced a facelift with a new interior decor, carpeting, paint, and a new color scheme. It looks fabulous and ready to host your next event. In addition to the Conference Center, I also manage the O'Neill Plaza, which is also great for outdoor events. For more information on the Downtown Douglasville Conference Center and O'Neill Plaza, please call me at 678-715-6094.
Well, welcome back, and again, thank you for joining us on today's kind of a special edition of the SMAer program when we were talking about couples and Valentine's Day. And I certainly want to thank Mr. and Ms. Kruger and Mr. and Ms. Brown for being with us today. It was very interesting hearing from one couple that had been married for an awful long time and another couple that's recently married. So again, thank you for joining us on Ask the Mayor.